Hey everyone. Just thought I'd drop in, do a little explanuary. Hopefully, I'm not too loud. Hopefully, I'm coming through all right. People wanted to know about PLLs. So I'm going to do what I can to talk a little bit about them and probably get one or two things wrong, but mostly we should be okay. I am going to let you know that I am hearing myself in my headphones due to my overall setup not being done for vocals. So if it seems like I'm slurring, it's because I'm compensating for hearing my own voice. So, PLLs. PLL is a phase lock loop. And really, to patch one up in Modular world, you just need three things. You can get more complex, but you need two VCOs and you need something to compare the two VCOs. The difference between them is what you're looking for, because that difference is what actually determines how out of phase they are with each other. So we're going to start with a VCO here. I'm going to use the oscillator. I like the oscillator because it has lots of outputs. So even without using a mult, we can listen to one while using the other one to determine how in phase or out of phase we are with the other one. So just to give it a listen, we'll just listen to, say, the sine wave. And you can hear the sine there. It's just nice. It's a nice little sine. It's so nice. I'm running it into the IntelliGel C legs, mostly so that when I want to, we can have a little reverb, and we get it in stereo. So, plus it gives me a drive knob, so I can easily shut it off. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take the square wave or pulse output, and we're going to run that into input one of the Mystic Circuits Anna. And if we want to hear that, we can hear it real quick. Good old square wave, right? Everybody loves a square. So what I am going to say is PLLs in the electronics world, they're almost all squares, right? What they're looking for is the overall difference between two squares to force them to interact with each other on the same clocking. They're usually used to clock things together. We're not so interested in clocking in Eurorack land, in synthland. We're way more interested in generally pitch, right? So we can use phase locking to control pitch, but it's not perfect at it. It's actually not great at it at all, but it's good enough in a really fun way. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to grab, we'll grab a sine wave out of the Collide 4. So we'll just go ahead and grab a sine. I'll let you hear that. Let's turn that down. I like to start with lower pitches. They work well. So we're going to plug that into input 2 of the Mystic Circuits Anna 2. And there's our original oscillator sine again. So Mystic Circuits Anna 2 gives us a whole bunch of analog logic options, is generally how it's seen. So we have two options that can look for how in or out of phase our two things are here on the Anna. We can use a straight XOR logic, which most people have an XOR logic somewhere in their system. There's also a window comparator, and that's the one that I like to use the most. It's actually, looking for phase comparison. Like it's looking for that, and you can use the attenuator knobs to kind of dial in exactly how hard it's looking at how in or out of phase they are. If you don't have an XOR and you don't have a window comparator, you do probably have a bipolar VCA or a ring mod, and they work as well. So if nothing else, use a ring mod, use one output into the basic VCA input, use the other into the CV, and your output is going to give you a comparison of the two circuits. And like in the dope for PLL, they have 3 different comparisons for you to use. And I don't know which is which. I don't even know if they tell us exactly which ones they are. I haven't looked at the documentation on that in a while, but that's what that switch on there is giving you. So we'll go ahead and we'll take the window comparator out. And if you recall, that's our nice little oscillator sine wave. And all that we're going to do, I'll turn these down to start. We're going to plug the output, which is the phase comparison of the two, into the V-oct. Turn these up so that we can start finding that comparison. And that's a super basic PLL. When I change the pitch on the Collide 4, we're changing the pitch on the oscillator. And we're doing so using the difference in phase. So for instance, let me go ahead and turn these on here. If I take I'm just sending a sequence out of step 8 into a quantizer just to keep it musical. You don't have to quantize it, of course. And from that into Collide 4. And you can hear it's not amazing at tracking pitch, but what it does is really interesting. Like it sounds kind of cool. It gives you really interesting timbre. And if we turn this all the way up, maybe give it a little reverb, that can be musical. You can do really interesting things with that. The ratio between the two oscillators makes a big difference. So what we're going to look at next is the big thing that the dope for brings in and that a lot of PLLs use, which is a filter. If you filter the comparison output, that gives you control of the overall phase of the PLL. So you can do some cool things there. Now, you can use any DC coupled filter. I like a slew limiter. It gives you both rise and fall, or attack and decay, however you want to look at it, control. A lot of them give you exponential to linear to logarithmic slope control. It's a good control, and they're always, DC coupled. So we'll go out of there into there. And you can really start to hear that warble because you can use the filter to push the difference uh, in tracking to the point where it's having trouble, right? It keeps trying to pop out of phase of the other oscillator. And there we're basically out. If we slow it down and bring the filter back down, and you can hear you get those warbles where you're almost coming out of phase. You're falling out of tracking. Again, a little reverb just for fun. Everyone loves some reverb. And that's literally the basics of a PLL. We can switch over to the XOR, and you can hear the difference in how it tracks. That's PLLs, folks. If you don't have a Doepfer A196, or I never remember the Doepfer numbers, but if you don't have one, two VCOs, something to compare them, a filter if you want, you're there. And because I've been told we need to say it, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But yeah, have fun with PLLs. Thanks for listening. Let me know if I got anything wrong that you know for sure.